Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Derek Carr Report, brought to you by the Raiders Report, featuring Bet DSI. I got a six-pack of rumors coming up for y'all, and there's a lot around Derek Carr because last night was not such a good game for the Raiders and our quarterback. So, first rumor coming up here on the board, is it time to bench Derek Carr? I'm giving this one 0 Chucky heads, tuck rule, tuck that. The fans, y'all, want Derek Carr to sit his butt on the bench after yesterday's performance against the Baltimore Ravens. Now, I can understand that there's a little bit of frustration. I was frustrated too. He's been a little bit of a check down guy, but at the end of the day, this is a team sport. Do you not watch the game? Who is he supposed to throw to? He's throwing to Marcel Aitman, who was just on the team a week ago, and he's throwing to Jordy Nelson, who was a decoy. Like, he doesn't have a lot of options around him, and he's been getting sacked a ton. Now, here are his Week 12 stats versus the Ravens, and let's not forget, the Ravens are ranked right now as the #1 defense against points allowed per game. And the Raiders still put up 17 points, 16-34, 194 yards, and a touchdown. Sure, he had a costly fumble that got returned for a touchdown, but ultimately he didn't turn the ball over. So, I want to know from you, Raider Nation, should the Raiders bench Derek Carr? I want you to give me a heart for yes or a like for no. If you watched me the last few days, I'm saying I'm going to put up my like because I just don't think that it's time to bench Derek Carr. I think it's a little bit of an overreaction, and because my next rumor coming up, I'm going to tell you exactly why I don't think it's time to bench Derek Carr. Hey, shout out to y'all because I've had a bunch of people subscribing below, and I can't even count or can't even figure out where my fingers got to go. YouTube.com/Raiders Report, where I'm going to release a whole bunch of new videos. I release Raider Nation rumors, where you guys create your own rumors. And guess what? I guarantee you Derek Carr is going to be on that too. And if you like me at least a little bit, go ahead, give me a follow on Twitter @MitchellRenz365. If you're new to the show, you need to understand my Raider rumor scale. 0 Chucky heads is tuck rule, tuck that. As we just saw, this rumor, not going to happen. 1 Chucky head is a small shred of truth. I like to think 25% chance of happening. 2 Chucky heads, people are talking 50-50. 3 Chucky heads is pretty likely this rumor is about 75% chance of happening. And then 4 Chucky heads, believe it, baby. 100% this rumor is going to happen. Next rumor coming up here on the board. Well, if we're going to bench Derek, is it time to start AJ McCarron? No! 0 Chucky heads, tuck rule, tuck that. Like, you guys get mad at Derek for struggling. What is the point in starting AJ McCarron? Like, he was traded to us on September 1st. Great. He is the only backup to Carr in his career, 6 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, but the guy's played in 13 games, and he's got 13 touchdowns. Like, there is no reason to start AJ McCarron over Derek Carr. Now, why is everybody freaking out about people, or why AJ McCarron should start? It's because Derek Carr's season. He's got a 69% completion percentage, 2,827 yards, 13 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Sure, his 6 fumbles aren't up there on the board, but again, he hasn't thrown an interception in the last 6 weeks, and this is a team sport. And if I hear one more person say, well, we just haven't seen AJ McCarron yet, then go on Google. Type in his name. It's really simple. You can look up his stats. You can look up his footage. He's not really good. Why would we want to even see what AJ McCarron has when we have all this extra money invested in Derek? Find out what you have in Derek. So, yeah, you probably already know my answer to this question. Who should start a quarterback for the Raiders in Week 13? I'm typing my C for Carr. I already know there's going to be a bunch of M's for McCarron. Heck, if you want to type N for Mitch, I'm down with that too. So, who should start for the Raiders in Week 13? It's Carr for me, fellas. Next rumor coming up here on the board is was Jordy Nelson a Week 12 decoy? If you don't know what decoy is, again, Google it. For you hunters, you probably know what it is. I'm going to give this one 3 Chucky heads, and I think it was pretty likely that it was a decoy. There were some rumors going around earlier in the week that Jordy was banged up. I mean, he missed Week 11 with a knee and thigh injury, and he was limited all week long in practice, and heck, Gruden even came out and said that he only has a chance to practice. I think the only reason why Jordy was even on the field for this one is just to be a decoy. He only saw 1 target, and he just was not involved in the offense whatsoever. The Raiders were practically losing the entire game, so when he only gets 1 target, and Marcel Aitman, who just joined the team 2 weeks ago, he has looked good. He has looked good. But he's only joined the team 2 weeks ago, gets 10 targets. To me, that screams Jordy Nelson was just a decoy, and yeah, the stats weren't all that great, and he didn't look all that good, but hey, he was just a decoy. If you think I look good enough to be in a store magazine because I look like a decoy. Oh, it's because of these shirts. It's because of Mizzen+Main, and I love these Mizzen+Main shirts. You guys can go to comfortable.af, and you guys can check out all the amazing Mizzen+Main shirts. I'm telling you what, these shirts are indeed comfortable as F. All right, next rumor coming up here on the board is Carr going to miss Week 13. So not only is he going to get benched, is he also going to just miss the entire week? I'm going to give this one Chucky head, and I think that there's a small shred of truth. So if you were watching the game, he got banged up. There was a potential that he had a concussion, and he also rolled his ankle after he got sacked on like 3 straight plays there. So he's a little bit banged up, but at the end of the day, he's going to end up playing. The reason why this is one Chucky head is because, sure, you can have a setback during week of practice, but I would be really, really surprised if he ended up not playing. I mean, Derek Carr even said last week, like, if I'm able to stand, I'm going to finish out my game. So here Derek Carr's missed games since coming into the league. In 2014, he didn't miss any games. In 2015, missed 0. This is regular season games, let me add. 2016 to 2017, he missed 1 game, but I mean, that was a freak injury in 2016, and in 2016 he was on MVP pace, and he hasn't missed a game this year. So I've been hearing a lot from you that Derek Carr is soft. Now, if he's soft, okay, I just showed you that he hasn't missed too many games, and I think he's been pretty tough even this year, taking a lot more hits. Heck, he's been sacked 36 times this year. His first 2 years, he was only sacked 35 times. Like, that just goes to show. So, is Derek Carr soft? Type Y for yes or type N for hard. I can't wait to see all the dirty jokes that I get that, no, Derek Carr's hard. All right, next rumor coming up here on the board. Are the Raiders a huge underdog to the Kansas City Chiefs? Yeah, 4 Chucky heads, believe it, baby. They are. And this one's from BetDSI. Right now, the Chiefs are 14.5 points favorites against the Raiders, and the Raiders are at home. This is the biggest point spread that the Raiders have ever had at home in the last 20 years. So, interesting stat, though, right? In 2009, the Raiders were 14-point underdogs to the Eagles. Guess what? The Raiders actually won that game 13-9. So, maybe the Raiders are going to beat Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. Maybe they'll hold them to 9 points. So, with the over-under being, or with the Raiders 14.5 point underdogs, I want to know from you, are the Raiders going to lose by more or less than 14.5 points? So if you think they're going to lose by more than 14.5, type O for over. If you think they're going to lose by less, type U for under. Sorry, I'm gonna go with the over because I've seen what the Chiefs have been doing on offense, and I've seen what the Raiders have done on offense and defense. So if you want to bet on the Raiders and Chiefs game, there's only one place to do it. It's at BetDSI. Go to chatsports.com/bet. Remember to use our promo code LIVE120 for a 120% deposit bonus. Mitch, what does that mean? You put down $50, you get $60 for free. You put down $100, guess how much you get? $120 for free. Heck, if you're a big baller, put down $500, get $600 for free. Shout out to BetDSI for hooking up Chat Sports with the best promo code on the internet. All right, last rumor coming up here on the board. Do the Raiders have the number 3 pick in the 2019 NFL Draft? This one's also for Chucky heads. Believe it, baby. So this is if the season ended today. So the 49ers and Cardinals both lost in Week 12, which means that the 49ers are 1, Cardinals would be 2, the Oakland Raiders would be 3. Derek Carr came out and said last week that I don't want the number 1 overall pick. I want to come out, I want to win games, and I don't want the number 1 overall pick, which I get from a competitor's perspective. But when you look at these next few games for the Oakland Raiders, if the Cardinals or the 49ers end up winning, I think the Raiders are going to have the number 1 overall pick. I mean, Week 13 versus the Chiefs, sorry, you already heard my aspect on that. It's a loss against the Steelers, probably going to be a loss. Now, the Bengals have been horrible on defense, but I still think that they're a better team, and the Raiders have to go on the road. Then versus the Broncos, where the hell have they been the last 2 weeks? Or they've just randomly just shown up, and apparently they're a decent team now. And then going into Kansas City, Week 17, the only way the Raiders win this game is if they bench their entire starters because they're already in the playoffs. So, with that being said, do you want the Raiders to have the first overall pick in the draft? I want you to type 1 for yes or type 2 for no. If you do want them to have the number 1 overall pick, I get it. Like, I want to be good for the years to come because this year is already 2-9. It's a lost season. But then I can also understand watching the game, enjoying the game, and I just hate when I see anything or anybody give up. So I can understand both sides of it, but I want to know from you. Do you want the Raiders to have the number 1 overall pick in the 2019 NFL Draft? Raider Nation, what's going on? Thank you so much for watching the Raiders Report. And give me a follow on Twitter at MitchellRans365. And remember to subscribe to youtube.com/Raiders Report because I'm going to be releasing a whole bunch of new content. And if you want to get on the show yourself, guess what? subscribe, youtube.com/Raiders Report. I'll be back later on in the week with more rumors, so until then, go Raiders.